In middle school, we read in Frank's diary together as a class over several weeks. When we reached the section about their Hanukkah celebration, a classmate suddenly exclaimed, "Hold on, are they Jewish?" I knew a girl in high school who mentioned she wanted to study Spanish because it's like English but a totally different language. I find myself thinking about that comment more often than I'd like. A friend of mine got pregnant at a young age, around 16, and was in tears after discovering her boyfriend had been unfaithful around the time they conceived. She worried she might be carrying another woman's child, explaining that to her was quite a strange experience. Someone once asked me, upon learning I grew up atheist, if you've never read the Bible, what stops you from committing murder or rape? How do you even know right from wrong? They were genuinely shocked when I said empathy, as if I'd given a quirky but oddly fitting response. A customer ordered a cheeseburger with no cheese, no pickles, no onions, no ketchup, no mustard. I clarified, "So, just a plain hamburger?" They snapped. "No, I said a cheeseburger." I explained they'd ordered a plain hamburger and could save some money. They called me an idiot and insisted on the cheeseburger order. I rang it up as requested and decided never to offer help in fast food again. In an office running low on paper, someone suggested, "Just place a blank sheet in the copier and print more." At a checkout, the cashier was chatting me up and asked where I was from. I said England, and he asked, "What language do they speak there?" I answered, "English," and the guy behind me in line burst out laughing. A woman asked if I was someone whose name I can't recall. I said no, and she replied, "Oh, you resemble him." She explained he was a Buddhist monk she'd met while traveling, but he had passed away. "He's dead," she added. I jokingly thought, "Yup, that's me, the dead guy." She wasn't kidding, though. Someone told me, "If you don't share my political views, you shouldn't be allowed to vote." Excuse me? Back when I used dating apps, a guy asked to hook up, and I said no. He then called me a whore because I'd die a virgin. Points for creativity? Just kidding. That remains my favorite insult ever. A person asked me, "What do you do with your glasses at night? Isn't sleeping with them on tough?" I explained I take them off, and she seemed genuinely surprised that was possible. I'm shocked she didn't ask if I need glasses to see my dreams. My mother-in-law told me, "You're not a real mom if you only have 2 kids," a day after I gave birth to my second child in under a year and a half. This came from a woman who didn't raise any of her 6 children and left them with a man who wasn't even the biological father of half. After my hair regrew following chemotherapy, my mom said never to cut it like that again because it made me look like a boy. While working at a bank, a customer tried to cash a check for their grandfather, who was in the hospital. I explained we couldn't process it without the grandfather present, as the check was in his name only. The customer held up a dog and said, "I have his permission. Look, this is his dog." I was speechless but kept a straight face while explaining that a dog isn't valid ID. Not the dumbest, but definitely notable. I had an extremely religious Catholic coworker. I was raised Catholic but rarely attend church and don't consider myself devout. A few years ago, my cousin with special needs was seriously ill in the hospital. I naively mentioned it to my coworker, asking her to pray for him, saying, "He's just an innocent kid who doesn't deserve this pain." She smirked and replied, "Jesus didn't deserve to suffer on the cross either." I was stunned. I've disliked her ever since. Thankfully, my cousin recovered and is doing great.